My husband died recently. I've tried everything to move on. So I thought I'd come here to get away from everything.
How does it feel to be at FrightFest?
Well, it's very exciting. I've been here before. I was here last year, so it's nice to be back.
Good to be back, yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I'm scared.
Are you?
I'm really scared.
Perfect place for it.
I'm not.
Your own film.
I don't know. I've not seen the film. You see, so this is absolutely my first time, and I'm not a horror film sort of person. I'm really squeamish.
Okay.
So,
are you scared of seeing yourself in this?
I'm not scared of seeing myself. I don't usually watch myself, I have to say, but I am really I thought the film, the script, it was an extraordinary piece of work, and I think working with my fellow actors as well, it's a remarkable piece of work.
It was a really wonderful experience, the whole thing.
Really. What is it about the script that drew you, Anna, to it?
It was just really the beauty and the truthfulness of it. I thought that Axelle had really captured, very fully developed characters, and a very unique way of dealing, of a woman dealing with a very, in a way, normal but huge emotion, grief, and I just think she really did such an amazing job with the script, and I was, absolutely determined that I wanted to do it.
Amazing.
It's funny, it touched deep things. It wasn't until we finished filming, in a way, that it's how it resonated, and I sort of realised it was touching on deep stuff, really.
Yeah. And how did you get your inspiration to develop your character?
My character, I hope nobody would recognise me at all. Teresa is a remarkable woman. She's a very strong woman. She's a very clever woman. She's a very devious woman, and a very, very determined woman, and a very passionate woman. And I think what she meets in Anna is somebody who, while she can hang on to that dream, that vision, what happens is that the real woman, the real love comes along to threaten everything, and all the worst bits of what it is to be a human being emerge. And that was
very much a character study.
It was a character study. You had to take it, and what you didn't want, especially with a supporting role, is for it to just sort of be, you had to discover the journey and be surprised yourself by how it was revealing it, revealing its own story, really. Yeah.
And for you, Anna, what was your inspiration for your character? How did you do that character study?
It was a hard one to do. It was quite traumatic in some ways, but I've experienced somebody very close to me dying, and so obviously you use that to an extent. But what really drew me to the script actually was not her having been written as a victim, but as somebody who had made the conscious choice to do everything she could to try and, having got to the deepest part of her unhappiness, feeling like she couldn't live, which is the beginning of the story, to then having made that choice to try and find a way of getting through it. And that was what was interesting for me. It's not somebody who's drowning, but actually somebody who's decided to try and come out of it.
So as a positive spin on that.
She's trying to be as strong as she can possibly be. And she's trying to do it on her own. She goes to the cottage to be on her own, to try and find her strength herself. And it just so happens that, she meets somebody who also then helps her, or she thinks can help her.
So it's a beautiful journey.
It is. I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the journey of a woman and her strength, really.
And how was it for both of you working with Axelle? We'll start with Tanya.
She was incredibly trusting, I have to say. You were allowed to go where you needed to go, and then at given points she'd just go yes, no.
Okay.
So you were given that sort of freedom and independence to be totally responsible, which is wonderful, obviously, as an actor, as long as you're prepared to take that responsibility.
Absolutely.
But once you go that journey, what you do need is then somebody to go yes or no, at the end of the day. And she was very, very clear. I think there were a couple of moments where I sort of had a bit, I sort of fought my corner. But no, she was very, very clear about what she wanted, but not in an aggressive way, in a very studied quietly observing, supportive way.
She has a very clear vision.
Oh yeah, she does.
Yeah, and that translates so well in her directing.
In the script as well.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I think that my first response to her when I first received the script was trust the script. It had been well wrought, you know, and she did.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the whole experience was very much a collaboration. You know, it felt that everybody was a very strong team and everybody was working for the same thing. And there was so much discussion, and Axelle and I talked for months, you know, before filming even started. And you know, that was just so lovely, because then you get to the first day of filming and you know absolutely what you're doing, but then at the same time, like Tanya's saying, there's this freedom to play around and try different things, but within the confines of knowing what your story is and who your character is. And she was always incredibly clear about the piece as a whole and the story as a whole and what she wanted to achieve, but she also wanted you to bring what you had developed, you know, from having found the character.
We
We're really lovely
each
combination.
other, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, you could come, you know, with prepared ideas, and then you know, because it's about acting's about listening, really,
it was
isn't it?
very much.
So you think you're going along one way, and then you know,
Well, because that's the thing, you never know until you get on set and you're playing the scene or rehearsing it, what you're going to get from the other person. And acting obviously is always about reacting and
being in the moment as well. Yeah.
And Anna always surprised me.
That's wonderful.
you always surprise me. That's for sure.
So you two had fun working together.
Yeah, it was a very interesting. We had fun working together as real people, and also the relationship as women in the film was very interesting.
Yeah, but it was in the, as always, the makeup room. Getting into I had really nice costumes. Getting into the costumes, wasn't it? I mean, it was those conversations that would go on for hours and hours, which usually would focus around the subject of the film as well.
I think
It was
that
bringing up
really
a lot of stuff.
We were very lucky with that, with having the time, because it's a small
therapeutic.
cast, to be able to have the time to really rehearse and talk, and everything felt so developed and therefore so grounded that it was such a lovely way of working.
Wonderful. Yeah, from speaking to Axelle, it sounded like you had a wonderful family feeling about this production.
I think that's
cold.
real.
It was very cold. It was wet and windy.
Perfect.
Rightly, and there was in a sea of mud. I think days in mud, wasn't it? But no, it was a lovely
Wonderful.
experience.
So final question to both of you. What are you a fan of?
What am I a fan of? Oh my goodness.
It could be anything.
Mary Poppins. It just jumps into my head. I'm really sorry. And Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, snap.
Charlie Chaplin.
Amazing. Yeah, absolute genius, yes. And you, Anna? What are you a fan of?
Oh, so many things.
I know.
Right now, I'm slightly obsessed with poetry. It seems to have slightly taken over. Lots of things. Eric Fried and Wendy Cope. I can't get enough of it. It's real odd, but
Wonderful.
it seems to pop into my mind the first thing.
Nice.
You need my help, Daniel. That girl is in trouble.
Without you, I'm nothing!